Hi everyone, it's Lynn from Ewetopia Farms. Actually being on camera for a change, something I'm not too comfortable with. But I realize we have been showing you a lot about the sheep and the farm and what we're making around here and what we're doing and how we're breeding the sheep. But someone mentioned to me that you really don't know a lot about us and our history. So I thought I would make a little video telling you about how we got started. So my name is Lynn, and I guess my history is that I was born in Toronto, lived there as a child for a couple of years, and then my family moved to Montreal, where I spent 10 years of my life growing up. So it's always been in the city. My dad worked for Bell Canada, and somehow with that job he ended up moving around quite a bit. So we moved in Quebec and Ontario, and then eventually when I was a teenager, he was getting tired of what he called the rat race in the city, so he bought a hobby farm about an hour away from his work in Ottawa. And we fixed that place up, and eventually we moved there for a couple of years, and he went to work in Ottawa, and basically we had 2 goats and some chickens and stuff like that. And I really liked it, and I think that's where I got my love for the country life and stuff like that. I always had a love of animals, but that kind of solidified things for me. But after a couple of years, that drive back and forth in the winter time was too much for my dad, and my mom really wasn't keen on the country life. So we packed up again and moved to Ottawa. And shortly thereafter, my dad got a transfer to Saudi Arabia. And when we went there, they didn't have high school for girls, so my sister stayed in Saudi Arabia, but I had to go off to boarding school in Italy, in Rome, Italy, and I stayed there for a couple of years, which was absolutely fantastic. And once that was over, it was back to Canada. I got married, and that was my first marriage. And he was an engineer, and again it was a lot of moving around for me. So he worked in the mining industry, so we ended up moving to British Columbia at first, and we traveled around to various parts in southern and northern BC, and then on to Alberta. And when we were in Alberta, we got border collies. And my husband decided it would be kind of cool to try sheepdog herding. So to do that, he was traveling back and forth into the countryside and getting sheepdog lessons. And he did that for a while, and then again the drive was getting a bit much, and it required a lot of training with the sheep and stuff. So we thought, hey, this is a good opportunity to get a hobby farm of our own and maybe get a few sheep and make some extra money on lambs and stuff. So we jokingly call our border collie the $250,000 dog, because that's what it cost for us to buy a farm back then. And our first sheep were Shetland sheep. No, actually our first sheep were Katahdins, Katahdin Dorper sheep, because we were told that they were really good for training dogs on. So we got a few of those, and it was our first time ever having sheep. And we thought, oh, we'd make a few thousand extra a year on meat lambs and stuff. And I always had this thing for animals, and very quickly our sheep became like this, pets. And I realized they had personalities, they wagged their tails, and I thought, oh God, this isn't going to happen. I'm not going to be selling meat sheep. So got a few Shetland sheep, because we thought that was the compromise. We could still have sheep, but now I could focus on breeding stock and selling colored wool and stuff like that, and that was really cool. So we did that for a while, and it was nice. Then my husband got a job in Ontario, so we packed up the sheep and everything else and the dogs and moved to Ontario, to the London, Ontario area. Stayed there a few years, and basically at the very end we moved to the Kingston area where we live now, me and Arie. And my first marriage broke apart. We had 2 kids. The boys weren't too interested in country life either, just for some reason just didn't like it. So my ex-husband and the boys moved to the city of Kingston, where they live today, and they really like it there. And I kept the sheep and the farm, and kept doing that until I met Arie shortly thereafter. And Arie and I met because I was looking to buy corn, and he had some corn here, and we got talking, and that's how we met. And we eventually got together. He had a dairy farm. He was getting a little tired of that. He had just been through a divorce too. He had no kids. So we got together. He got rid of the cows because he was finding that work depressing. Not only did it tie you down like way more than the sheep, but also he was finding that they had a really short life in the barn. He had a tight stall barn, and it just wasn't very friendly and satisfying, and he was finding it depressing. And then his hired hand left, and we could not find anyone to replace him. I mean, the best we found when we were looking for hired hands was a guy who turned out to be on the high-risk offender list. And they told us that the police could stop by every month or so to check on, make sure that he was doing okay. And we thought, okay, this is crazy. So I still had a few sheep, and we thought, let's get into a breed that we both can get behind, and that's when we chose Suffolk, because we did a lot of research, and we thought the Suffolk was where we liked to go. We had enough land and space, and they seemed to be the breed of choice around the world, so we thought we'd start out with those. And we got 20, and we have right now about 450 ewes. Arie bought the farm off his parents. No deal there. We paid full price, if not more, for that. But we got the farm anyway after a lot of struggles. And believe me, it was a nightmare of a struggle to get it. So we had a massive debt. So we decided that's why we're getting bigger. He got rid of the dairy cows, which helped pay off some of the debt. And we got big enough in the sheep that we could make a living off of it. So even though he's been a farmer his whole life, because I don't know if I mentioned that, he was born here. He's never lived anywhere else. He went to school here. This has been his home for his life, so he's always had this farm. But he always liked animals too. He always liked to be alone, a bit of a rebel. So we kind of matched that way. And we're both A-type personalities. So we always want to do the best we can and succeed in what we do. And it's always a challenge to do better and better and better, which is well suited for the breeding stock, I think, because the biggest challenge for us every year is to have the lamb crop of that year surpass the quality of the year before. And seriously, we've got some really old girls in here, some 10-year-olds and stuff, and we thought they were the bee's knees at the time, and yeah, the young girls really stand out compared to them, so I think we have come a long way. We because we are so alike in our competitiveness and our strive to be the best, sometimes that can be a little bit of clashing, so you'll see us butting horns quite a bit, but in the end I get my way and everything works out really well. So what else can I say? Arie went to school here his whole life. He's very handy. As you can see, he's really good at welding and carpentry and stuff like that. It's all self-taught, but he's good at that, so he works well on that end of things. And both of us, I think, are really good with animal husbandry and having an eye for what quality is. And I guess I'm more the artsy-fartsy type. I'll do the designs and the marketing and the social media and all that stuff. And it seems to be working for us. And he likes animals as much as I do, even though he is raised on a farm with a farming background, which farmers do like animals, but I mean, most people's animals are not like this. Like, I'm just sitting in the barn and all these ewes will come up. You see, I've got adults here and I've got babies, and yeah, they're all friendly and easy to handle, and we both like it that way. Like, that is the fun part of farming. It's what we like. It's what gives us satisfaction. We don't want to go to work and it be just a job, where these are just a commodity and a money maker. They're more than that for us. They do provide us our livelihood, but we respect them and we love them and we treat them as good as we can. And I think it's obvious in how the sheep behave with us, and customers see it too when they come here to pick sheep. They're always a little surprised that they haven't taken off to the other side of the barn like at a lot of places. What did you do? Are you choking? It's okay. It's okay. Got a little cough, maybe some coronavirus. Anyway, what else can I say? When I got my divorce, I thought I'd have to go back to school to make a living because the sheep I had wasn't going to provide for me. So I did go back to school, got my degree in behavioral psychology, and I did work in the corrections system for a little while. I basically was working in maximum security prisons with high-risk offenders. I worked at Kingston Penitentiary and Millhaven Maximum Security, and I was, I actually enjoyed working with the big scary guys. They weren't so scary when you met them, and I was doing mental health assessments and stuff on them and anger management courses and stuff like that. But it was a government job and it's all contract work. They sign you on for a few months and they cut you off right before you can get full benefits and stuff, and then you have to reapply. So that just didn't pan out for a long time job, even though I wanted it to because it was nice. So sheep were the next best thing, and that's how we like it. We are both happy with the sheep. We're getting a lot older now. We keep talking about retirement and downsizing, but we're having a hard time taking that step because as tired as we are, because we do only work by ourselves, we don't have any help whatsoever. It can be overwhelming some days, and when you careful, buddy. Do you want me to move over? Come on up. Jeez, poor guy. What was I saying before that lamb interrupted me? Anyway, I think that's about everything about us and what we're doing. Yeah, retirement, downsizing. Maybe one day soon. but I can't see us getting out of it totally. If anything, we'll downsize to just purebreds, a few purebred Suffolks, a few purebred Dorsets, and maybe get rid of the grades. We've been saying that for the last 3 years. But inevitably, someone with a spotty face, or like the little brown one, Toonie here, she's just to the side, you can't quite see her. They pop up, or Cammy, or Chewy. So yeah, the crosses keep staying because inevitably they're the cute ones, right? So anyway, that is a little bit about our history. Someone also did a podcast on our farm called Connected to the Land, I believe, and you can go on Google that if you want to hear more, but I think I covered just about everything. So sorry to bore you, but that's a little bit about us, and if you have any other questions, let me know and I'll try to answer them for you. Say bye, everybody. Okay, bye.